Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, authorities arrest over 400 individuals in a Pogo hub in Parañaque City. Former Senate President Franklin Drilon urges President Bongbong Marcos to call for a special session to resolve the impasse on Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial. The Department of Agriculture includes 4 more U.S. states in its poultry ban due to bird flu. And Amazon's MGM Studios takes creative control of the James Bond film franchise. Thanks for joining us. Authorities arrest over 400 individuals in a raid in a Pogo hub in Parañaque. Among those arrested are 300 Filipinos, 137 Chinese, and 3 Vietnamese nationals. The others were Thai, Malaysian, Indonesian, and Taiwanese. Investigation shows the Pogo operates as an investment and sport betting scam targeting Chinese and Indian nationals. The operation was conducted by the PNP CIDG, the Justice Department, the Immigration Bureau, along with the Southern Police District, with the help of the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission. Former Senate President Franklin Drilon urges President Marcos to call for a special session so the Senate, as an impeachment court, can tackle the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. In an interview with Agenda, Drilon says in a special session, all matters concerning the impeachment proceedings can be resolved. He adds this can help prevent any constitutional crisis should a trial spill over to the next Congress.
Wala pong kapangyarihan si Senate President Cheese na ituloy o hindi ituloy ang impeachment trial dahil po yan ay nasa kamay ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Siya po ang may kapangyarihang tumawag ng special session para mabuo yung impeachment court.
The remains of PNP Director for Logistics Colonel Perhentino Malabed is back home. Malabed was among the casualties in the collision of an American Airlines jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter in Washington, D.C. 3 weeks ago. Francis Falve joins us for the details. Francis.
Yes, Mai, the remains of Police Colonel Perhentino Malabed Jr. arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport past 5 o'clock this morning. Malabed was one of the more than 60 passengers who perished in the mid-air collision in Washington on January 29. Upon arrival at the cargo area, he was given foyer honors by some of his colleagues from the Directorate for Logistics and his classmates from the PNPA Class 1998. After the short ceremony, Malabed's remains were brought to Puneraria Pass in Sucat and was then transferred to PNP National Headquarters in Camp Crame, where he was given arrival honors. There was also a short program to recognize and pay tribute to the officer. He was awarded with the Medal of Loyalty and the Medal of Outstanding Service. His remains will stay at the PNP mortuary until the morning of Monday, February 24. From Camp Crame, his remains will be brought to his final resting place at the Manila Memorial Park in Santa Rosa City, Laguna. The PNP has assured that Malabed's family will receive the necessary benefits, including accident benefits, amounting to a total of 2.6 million pesos. Mai?
Thank you, Francis Falve reporting. In celebration of National Heart Month and Cancer Awareness Month, Quezon City is bringing healthcare closer to the people with a free medical event. From checkups to cancer screenings, residents are getting access to crucial health services at no cost. Hannah T joins us live from Barangay Loyola Heights. Hannah, tell us more about these services.
The event offers a wide range of health services, starting with a general health assessment. And the turnout here just shows how much people value these free checkups. Residents can have their blood pressure checked, body mass index calculated, and undergo fasting, blood sugar, and cholesterol tests, all essential in detecting early signs of heart disease and diabetes. High blood pressure remains a major health concern in Metro Manila, Manila with over 200,000 cases recorded. Diabetes is also a growing problem affecting more than 48,000 Filipinos in the region. And with heart disease claiming over 2,000 lives here every year, doctors say early detection is important since many people don't even realize they have these conditions until it's too late. But staying healthy is not just about the diagnosis, it's also about lifestyle changes. Participants here engaged in Zumba sessions and healthy cooking demonstrations, showing that exercise and proper nutrition play a big role in disease prevention. Quezon City is also taking the lead in health awareness. It's actually the first city in Southeast Asia to implement a calorie labeling ordinance requiring restaurants to display calorie counts on menus. This is a move aimed at helping consumers make smarter food choices. This event also highlights the importance of early cancer detection. Attendees have access to breast, lung, and cervical cancer screenings. Cervical cancer screening is limited to the first 100 clients, which includes free HPV testing, a crucial step in detecting the virus that can lead to cervical cancer. According to the World Health Organization, lung cancer remains the deadliest type of cancer worldwide, and you don't even have to be a smoker to get it because secondhand smoke can be just as harmful. Meanwhile, breast cancer is the most common form of cancer among women, and health experts recommend that women with a family history of breast cancer get a mammogram as early as 35, while those without a history should start screening at 40. And of course, since good health starts with proper nutrition, the National Nutrition Council is also here to educate attendees on dietary choices that can lower the risk of heart disease and cancer. And at the end of the day, my prevention is always the best medicine. And this is not even just about free checkups. It's about giving people the knowledge and tools they need to live longer and healthier. Mai?
That's right. Thank you for that report. Hannah T joining us live from Quezon City. U.S. President Donald Trump doubles down on his threat of massive economic sanctions against BRICS nations that he claims are trying to destroy the dollar. Trump says he's ready to impose 150% tariffs against them to maintain the greenback's dominance. BRICS includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and a few other countries that have joined in the past couple of years. The group has planned to create its own currency to reduce dependency on the dollar.
They probably wanted to use the yuan, China. They wanted to use the yuan. And Biden said, well, this is a tough situation. There's not much we can do about that. We can't help that. I said, oh, we can help it. So when I came in, the first thing I said is any BRIC state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods. We don't want to partake. And the BRIC states just broke up. I don't know what the hell happened to them. We haven't heard from the BRIC states lately.
Donald Trump's billionaire backer Elon Musk defending the sweeping government downsizing efforts that he's spearheading in the Department of Government Efficiency. Musk has been tasked by Trump to weed out wasteful spending in federal agencies. Speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Maryland, the Tesla CEO said the cuts were being made to keep programs like Medicare and Social Security operational. The latest target of Musk's department, the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, where Reuters learned that as many as 6,700 people will be laid off.
The country goes insolvent if all the money is just spent on paying interest on debt. There's no money left for anything.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm doing this, is because I was looking at the big picture here, and it's like, man, our debt's getting out of control. This waste is pretty much everywhere. People ask, like, how can you find waste in D.C.? I'm like, look, it's like being in a room, and this target, the wall, the roofs, and the floor are all targets. So it's like you're gonna close your eyes and go shoot in any direction, because you can't miss, you know. So it's pretty wild. Like you just push on things a little bit and you save billions of dollars. Like just a little bit, you know? It's wild.
The U.S. Speaker of the House says Ukraine does not need another funding bill. In the same conference, Speaker Mike Johnson says the conflict in the war-torn country must end. His comments came amid deepening uncertainty about the future of U.S. support for Kyiv, with President Trump and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky engaging in a word war.
There's no appetite for that. What do you think? No. Yeah.
Got our answer there?
We have to bring it to an end. And I can tell you that our European allies understand the necessity of this as well. It's drug on too long. By some estimates, Russia's lost almost 700,000 troops, maybe more. The Ukrainians have suffered great losses. We have to bring an end to the conflict. President Trump is exactly right. It's time for it to end, and he is the brute force, I think, that can make that happen.
In China, Beijing hard-pressed to find new solutions for the crisis-hit property sector. This comes as key tools meant to stabilize the property market are making minimal impact. These include a $41.4 billion re-lending program meant to help government-controlled firms to buy empty houses and repurpose them for affordable housing. Authorities hoped this would help reduce the giant stock of unsold apartments and improve the cash flow of developers as the Chinese property market suffered a severe downturn since 2021. In Peru, over 100 districts have been placed under emergency following intense rains in the South American nation. The Peruvian capital of Lima is among the regions put under the 60-day emergency. Rains devastated different parts of the country, leaving serious damage to nearby houses, crops, and blocking roads in several cities. In Israel, a series of bus explosions rocked near Tel Aviv Thursday night. Video filmed from a nearby building showed the scene of one of the blasts. No casualties were reported. 4 explosive devices were retrieved in 2 Israeli suburbs outside Tel Aviv. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the blasts. The COMELEC now requiring survey firms to register as the election season goes into full swing. The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV, will join us for a discussion. That's after the break. Newsfeed at noon. We'll be right back. You're back on Newsfeed at noon. The Justice and Environment Department teaming up to help improve the handling of environmental cases in the country. Joash Malimban now joins us live for an update. Joash, what can you tell us?
Yes, Mai, the Department of Justice and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources have signed a memorandum of agreement aimed to strengthen the prosecution for environmental crimes. The agreement aims to deputize DENR lawyers, allowing them to assist in crafting plea bargains, drafting judicial affidavits, and securing expert witnesses for environmental cases. Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla said that the MOA is long overdue but marks a stronger commitment to environmental justice. The MOA also seeks to close gaps between the DOJ and DENR in handling cases, ensuring closer coordination with law enforcement agencies such as the Philippine Coast Guard and the PNP Maritime Group. Also present at the signing were Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Ronnie Gavan, PNP Maritime Group Director Police Brigadier General Jonathan Cabal, Environmental Advocate Attorney Antonio Posa Jr., and DNR Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga, all expressing support for the initiative. Key initiatives include establishing an interagency coordinating mechanism, creating a shared database for environmental cases, and drafting guidelines on plea bargaining and expert witness presentation. Capacity building programs and the creation of a dedicated fund for environmental law enforcement are also part of the plan. The MOA comes as the DNR data reveals significant challenges in prosecuting environmental offenders. From 2010 to 2022, the agency conducted 264 operations, filing 170 cases against 549 violators, but securing only 42 convictions. As of October 2024, 6,446 environmental crime cases have been reported, with a significant number still pending with prosecutors. Mai, once fully implemented, the agreement expected to enhance enforcement efforts and hold more violators accountable for environmental-related crimes. Mai.
Josh, does this MOA include pushing for stronger legislation against environmental crimes?
Mai, according to the DOJ, they clarified that this MOA signing is only focused on enhancing or strengthening the existing legislations on environmental crimes. But they also clarified that the DNR can still push for legislations regarding environmental cases if they want to in the Congress and in the Senate. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you. Josh Malimban reporting. Election gun ban violators have soared beyond the 1,000th mark. Data from the PNP shows 1,027 civilians have been arrested. They also include 23 security guards, 7 soldiers, and 7 policemen. Most of those arrested are from Metro Manila. The gun ban started in January 12 and will end on June 11. All survey firms are now required to register before the Commission on Elections. Let's get some insights from poll watchdog Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting. Joining us via Zoom is PPCRV spokesperson Ana De Villa Singson. Good afternoon, Ms. Ana.
Hello, good afternoon, Mai, and to all the listeners of Bilyonaryo.com.
So more than 2 months to go before the elections and the COMELEC comes up with this resolution. Do you agree poll surveys should be regulated to prevent influencing voters?
I understand this principle behind it. Okay, the principle is that sometimes you can be, the way you conduct the survey, yung pamamaraan ng pag-conduct the survey can be very misleading minsan kung hindi legitimately done. Like for example, I used to have research kasi before when I was in Globe, and one way to use surveys wrongly is your respondents, for example, kandidato ka and you choose respondents na supporters mo. So of course, all the results will be positive. So I understand the need to monitor the legitimate use of surveys because it can spread disinformation. It can also influence the decision of others. However, on the other hand, while I understand the principle behind it, I hope that it is implemented by the COMELEC in a way that does not impair our ability to get rightful and legitimately conducted survey informations naman. So I understand the need, but its application has to recognize that while there are those that are illegal, that could be illegal or unscrupulous, there are also some surveys which are very legitimately conducted with all the proper principles of research.
You mentioned, Ana, the illegal or unscrupulous surveys. So based on your monitoring, have there been fly-by-night surveys coming out?
Yes, there are some. There are many that will say according to survey and they don't name the names. Hindi nila sasabihin sino ba ang nagpa-conduct nagbayad at ng sponsor ng survey nito, and they don't explain sino ba ang nag-conduct ng survey. And even more, they don't explain the process. Yung process kasi importante. It is so easy if you are wrongly using survey tools. It's so easy to manipulate the answer of somebody by just by the way you ask the question and just by whom you ask the question of. So we see several of those, especially in the provinces. They're saying topping the survey, but pag titignan mo, wala naman source, walang process. So you question, the way you question anything nowadays, is it really legitimate? Is it believable? Is it credible?
And some camps do commission these surveys. Some parties do that. And do you believe they do sway voters?
The trending of, in fact, I was part of a panel yesterday of one of the more well-known research agencies, and that question came up: can it cause trending? We have not seen any data so far from PPCRV to show that it can cause trending. Although sometimes, I'll be honest, there are some people, when they see that their candidate is very far down, they will say, sayang naman. Why will I vote pa for that person? Talo na naman. So I won't vote for that person na lang. Sayang my vote. Although we don't have anything in terms of formal research numbers, we hear that qualitative. So I
Totoo
think
yun,
people-
naririnig ko rin yun.
Yeah, because people lang have to be careful, no, about the way they look at the results.
So does the PPCRV believe surveys can predict election results?
So far, they have been predicting quite consistently, especially for since we turned automated, there is very good parallelism between the predictive results of what I call legitimate surveys done by groups who have been in the business for a long time and have gained credibility in conducting research. They usually predict, in senatorials, we know that they usually predict very well between 1 to 8. And then when it comes to 9 to 12, that's where there's wider flexibility and when sometimes hindi pumapasok in terms of the research. But usually 1 to 7, 1 to 8, pretty much it plays within that area.
All right, let's go now to the campaigns of candidates. Any violations of election laws that the PPCRV has monitored so far?
Well, quite a bit, yeah. In terms of we see one of the rules of COMELEC is that you should remove all your campaign materials 3 days before the actual campaign period starts, which is supposed to be in February 11 for the national and March 28 for the local candidates. 3 days before the elections, we were looking around in several, just here in NCR, and hindi pa binabaklas. It's called Operation Baklas by COMELEC. Hindi
Pero
pa
marami
binabaklas.
pa rin, no?
Ang dami-dami pa rin because you're supposed to put it only in there's supposed to be a prescribed size, a prescribed place, pero maraming hindi nagfa-follow noon. And then we do a lot of travels nationwide, and of course we are a nationwide group. Ang dami pa rin dyan mga what you call the EPAL or EPAL, depending on how you pronounce it, na ang daming projects na kasulat doon brought to you by X candidate. And, you know, this utang, people tuloy think they have utang na loob to the candidate. And as part of our voters' education, sinasabi mo namin, wala ho kayong utang na loob kung kanino man proyekto yun because that project ho, galing sa buwis nyo, galing sa taxes nyo. So, yung mga EPAL na yan, nakaka-influence rin kasi alam nyo naman, malakas ang pagtanaw ng utang loob ng mga Filipino. But in this case, wala naman ho kayong utang loob kasi sa totoo lang, buwis nyo yan. Buwis ninyo ang nagpa-fund ng mga proyekto niyan.
Kailangan pa rin maliwanagan yung ating mga voters tungkol dyan. Kasi some people think, many people think parang hindi na mawawala yan, ano?
Especially the ayuda. In fact, one of the rules of COMELEC now, which is being questioned by the DSWD, is 10 days before election, so 10 days before May 12, hindi na pwede magbigay ng ayuda. Now, I understand where that comes from because hindi na rin ako nagsasabi at hindi na lang yung mga coordinators namin. Isang kandidato mismo nagsabi, yung mga ayuda na yan, pastado, they paste, naka-paste kasama ng ayuda yung pangalan ng kandidato. So akala ng mga tao galing sa kandidato ay hindi naman. So this it's a form of vote buying and vote selling na very predominant in our elections, and that's one of the yan siguro isang pinakamalaking paglalabag ng batas tuwing eleksyon, yung vote buying at vote selling. Masyado pong wholesale ngayon ang vote buying.
Tsaka nauso rin yun, ano, yung nire-repack yung mga ayuda, yung mga donations, nakikita natin yan.
Oo,
Alright.
literally name names, oo.
So let's go to the COMELEC's preparations. How would you assess the preparations for the upcoming midterm polls?
We have worked with so many different COMELEC groups and several different COMELEC leaderships. I have to say that there is a very strong attempt for transparency with this particular COMELEC, no? Ang dami lang pinapasok na measures for transparency, and one of those is yun election return. The election return is the printout, which is the summary of all the votes of one counting machine, no? Of one automated counting machine. Yung printout ngayon, magkakaroon ng QR code. Ano ang kabuluhan ng QR code na yon? Isa-scan nyo lang yung QR code na yon at pwede nyo nang makita lahat ng boto ng lahat ng votes ng lahat ng botante sa machine na yon, sa presintong yon. And they're going to post it. Ipapaskill ho yan sa bawat presinto. So anyone can actually conduct a parang random manual audit on the spot. So I think that's very transparent, and I laud the efforts of COMELEC for that. Now,
How is this coming along, Ana? Yung QR code na yan, makikita ba natin yan in every precinct?
every precinct, every election return will have, kasi when the election closes, magpiprint out yung makina ng election return. Meron na sa baba ng QR code. That's the first time they're doing this. So it's pretty transparent because each a copy will be posted in every precinct. So kunwari ikaw, regular mamamayan ka, and you want to see ano ba yung boto ng lahat ng tao sa dito, makikita. It's posted ho. Tapos another measure on transparency is noon ho, ang PPCRB, yung ibang mga social civic groups at saka yung political parties at media, connected ho sa transparency server ng COMELEC. Doon ho namin kinukuha yung datos namin. Yun po ang aming ina-analyze, no? At yung pinapakita sa publiko. Ngayon ho, hindi na kami nakakonekta sa transparency server. Direktong nang ipapadala sa amin mula sa mga ACMs, automated counting machines, worldwide. So, throughout the country. Noon kasi, pag magtra-transmit ng boto, pumapasok sa transparency server ng COMELEC. Tapos, doon namin kinukuha. Ngayon, dediretso na sa mga servers namin. Wala nang parang middle man. So, I think that's another at transparency.
Sana nga mag-work kasi in the past elections naman, nakita natin may mga issues like technical difficulties, may mga brownout, meron ding malfunctioning machines. So, di ba, nagkakagulo rin sa mga presinto. Now, are there urgent concerns right now that you see that need to be addressed?
Well, urgent concerns, you know naman that na-invalidate ng COMELEC ang mga 6 million ballots, di ba? So, and at that time, medyo critical path na sila in terms of printing the ballots. But I think yung ginawa nila is nag-enable sila ng ibang mga printing machines para to make up for the lost time kasi 6 million were invalidated. They had to print another 6 million ballots. So far, according to their schedule, kaya naman ho raw. But I think ang binabantayan namin, anong mangyayari sa 6 million na na-invalidate, no? So we have to make sure na talagang hindi yun lumabas, hindi magamit for nefarious purposes or illegal purposes, at na masira siya because they're supposed to chemically dispose of those 6 million ballots. So binabantayan rin po namin yan ngayon.
Okay, before we let you go, what is the PPCRV doing now to help voters choose the right candidates in the May elections?
Thank you for asking that. Ang dami ho naming nasasaganap na voters education ngayon. Alam nyo, medyo malungkot, based sa survey, lumabas, and legitimate survey ho ito ha, based sa survey, lumabas na yung mga Pilipinos, alam naman ho natin yung issues. Filipinos, when we are asking them, ano bang gusto nyo sa kandidato, sasabihin nila, they like candidates who can provide more job opportunity, equal access to education, price protection against on basic goods. So they know the economic issues. But kung tatanungin nyo sa kanila, how do you vote? 50% of Filipinos will tell you that despite knowing the economic issues, they will vote based on personality. So ang sabi ho namin sa aming voters education, ang personality ho, hindi masosolve yung economic problems at yung mga hinahanap ninyo sa kandidato. Dapat ho, mga taong marunong mag-serve at sinasabi namin dapat warang Pilipino. At ang voter dapat maging huwarang Pilipino para mag-vote ng mabuti. In fact, in a survey, tinanong namin nationwide, ano ba ang huwarang voter at huwarang Pilipino? Ito ay voter na makajos, matapat, masipag, matulungin, magalang, makabayan. At dinagdag namin ho ang mapanuri. So, we are giving voters education all over, in schools, in parishes, in dioceses nationwide. At we give modules on that. And then we even give them a method by which they can in a discerning manner, choose their candidates based on the attributes that they think are important. So, importante lang ho, no? Wag naman ho, based on personality lang ang ating desisyon. Kasi ang personality, pag tignan mo, kung maganda, may personality na. Kung kilala, may personality na. Pero masasagot ba nila yung economic needs na alam naman natin lahat, no? So medyo nakakabagabag ho yun na 54% of the Filipinos choose based on personality.
Okay, sana nga mag-research din ang ating mga botante, ano, alamin ang track record ng mga kandidato. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
That was PPCRV spokesperson Ana De Villa Singson. Still ahead, the Agriculture Department expands its import bans on poultry products from the United States. That story and more when we return. Stay with us. Back a Newsfeed at noon. Recapping today's headlines, authorities arrest over 400 individuals in a Pogo hub in Parañaque. Former Senate President Franklin Drilon urges President Bongbong Marcos to call for a special session to resolve the impasse on Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial. The Department of Agriculture includes 4 more U.S. states in its poultry ban due to bird flu. And Amazon's MGM Studios takes creative control of the James Bond film franchise. The Department of Agriculture widens its net of import bans by stopping shipments in 4 more U.S. states. In a memorandum issued by the DA, Illinois, Minnesota, Ohio, and Wisconsin are now also covered by the import ban due to recent avian flu outbreaks. Similar bans were imposed earlier this year from Maryland, Missouri, South Dakota, and New Zealand. After more than a decade of negotiations, the Marcos administration finalizes a landmark agreement with indigenous peoples, ensuring they receive their rightful share of royalties from mining operations in their ancestral lands. Sujin Kim reports.
The Philippines is one of the world's richest countries in mineral resources, with almost 200 mining sites. From 2013 to 2022, over 100 million pesos in royalties have been distributed to indigenous communities. But there are strong concerns that this may not reflect the true amount owed, due to a lack of data transparency and monitoring. Under the newly signed Memorandum of Understanding, The government will ensure that millions from mining operations go directly to the rightful beneficiaries, not just to the interests of big corporations.
The government continues to refine the mining fiscal regime, aiming to create a system that balances the interests of all stakeholders while ensuring that resource revenues contribute to national and local development.
For decades, extractive industries have played a critical role in our national economy, contributing to government revenues and economic growth. However, we also recognize the social, environmental, and economic challenges that these industries pose.
While mining provides jobs and revenues for the government, its impact on the environment and indigenous communities runs deep.
The extraction of minerals, oil, gas, and coal takes place in specific areas, often within ancestral domains. While these activities generate revenues, such as royalties and taxes, there remain challenges in tracking how these funds are allocated and utilized. Strengthening data sharing and monitoring mechanisms will help ensure that indigenous communities have better access to information.
The extractive industries, which draw heavily on the resources within our ancestral domains, have often operated without full regard for the rightful claims of these communities, have left many indigenous peoples with little recourse and insufficient information about the payments made by extractive companies for the use of their lands.
With a stricter data sharing system, the government can now verify whether mining companies' declared payments match what indigenous communities actually receive. Experts say this new transparency system will boost foreign investor confidence as it enhances the Philippines' image as a responsible mining destination.
We expect for it to give confidence to our foreign investors. Because when foreign investors, when they go into a country, they look also at the governance structures. They're confident that there is proper reporting from the part of government, industry, and civil society.
For investors looking at the Philippines, Philippines is out there. We're ready, for more mining investment in the country. This is definitely a game changer, a positive step, to investing and to welcoming foreign investment in the country.
Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The Interior and Local Department urging officials in Malay Aklan to bring down tourism costs to help Boracay become more accessible to tourists. That story when Newsfeed at noon returns. Stay tuned.
You see C5 and Commonwealth, which don't have the exclusive bus lanes. Very traffic na dyan ngayon. But the main point there is that we're making EDSA less efficient. The bus lanes are more efficient than the pre-EDSA carousel scenario because we're moving more people per hour on that road because buses take around 50 passengers per vehicle, while cars can only move around on average 1.5. You can say could house like 5 people, but normally it would just have like 1.5 average number of persons inside. We should change the metrics of MMDA and the other agencies where they always focus on the number of vehicles that are being moved rather than knowing or like calculating how many people. Because if you can move like 3 buses but each would have 50 passengers each, then that's 150 people compared to moving like 60 cars. If you can see cars moving, it won't be as efficient as the bus lane.
Good morning, I'm Mai Rodriguez, and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and the insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead.
I'm committed to buying and owning gas.
Gold extends its record-breaking rally on Monday, surpassing the key 2,900 level for the first time.
Despite battling cancer twice, she never lost her passion.
And that's it for Business 360. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on DNC, the Bilyonaryo news channel, always on top.
This is The Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Rojas. EJ Obiena is back in winning form, bagging his first gold medal of the year after a brief setback due to injury. Mench Dizon makes history as the first Filipina to conquer both the World Marathon Challenge and Majors.
There you go.
Wow! Round of applause, guys.
The Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, right here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
You're still watching Newsfeed at noon. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla gives local officials in Malay Aklan a 2-week deadline to lower visitor and municipal fees for Boracay or temporarily halt collections to keep tourism costs in check. Remulla met with local officials on Monday alongside Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco to discuss making Boracay more accessible to visitors amid rising concerns over tourism affordability. Right now, tourists pay 150 pesos in terminal fees and another 150 pesos for environmental fees for domestic travelers, while foreign visitors pay double. Despite these fees, Boracay remains a top tourist destination. Its main white beach was recently named among Asia's best of the best in TripAdvisor's 2025 Travel Choice Awards. With tourism a major economic driver, finding the right balance between revenue generation and affordability will be key to keeping Boracay competitive, especially as other destinations in the region intensify their efforts to attract tourists. The Philippine automotive industry is gearing up for a strong 2025, driven by new model launches and increasing consumer demand, signaling a boost for manufacturers, dealers, and related sectors. Our mobility correspondent G. Baroga has the details.
The Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Inc., or CAMPI, is setting its sights on 500,000 car sales this year, a 7% increase from the 467,252 units sold in 2024. CAMPI President Romel Gutierrez is optimistic, believing fresh model releases will keep buyers interested and sustain momentum. And the year has started on the right foot, with sales in January rising by 10% compared to the same period last year. Light trucks and utility vehicles led the charge, posting a 17% year-on-year sales jump, more than offsetting an 8% dip in passenger car sales. For the first time, Campi included new energy vehicles or NEVs in its report, highlighting a shift in consumer preferences. Dealers sold 1,600 NEVs in January, with hybrids making up the bulk of sales as more buyers explore eco-friendly options. Toyota of the Bilyonaryo T family continues to lead the pack. Other brands are also making moves, hoping to capture a bigger slice of the market. The government is currently drawing up a new incentive program for vehicle makers to crank up their sales. Based on economic czar Frederick Goss' proposal under RACE, or the Revitalizing the Automotive Industry for Competitiveness Enhancement Program, vehicle makers can get as much as 3 billion pesos in perks for every model whose sales exceed 100,000. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
In sports, on to the next for Gilas Pilipinas. After a tough loss to begin the final window of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, Chinese Taipei snapped the perfect run of the Philippines in Group B action last night, 91-84. Justin Brownlee led the Philippines with 39 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in a valiant effort. Despite this, the men's national basketball team is already qualified for the Continental Showpiece in August. Gilas is headed to Auckland for their next game against New Zealand Sunday, February 23rd. In the NBA, bad news for San Antonio Spurs fans. French Phenom Victor Wembanyama has been ruled out for the season due to a shoulder injury. The Spurs announced a blood clot was found in the right shoulder of the 7'3" big man. The diagnosis comes following Wemby's participation in the All-Star game. This is seen as a significant blow for San Antonio's quest to earn a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Entertainment news now. The James Bond franchise shaken and stirred as the iconic franchise enters a new era. Amazon's MGM Studios will take creative control of the film franchise under a new venture with its longtime rights holders. This move clears uncertainty over one of Hollywood's most profitable film series. With Amazon now expected to take on a more hands-on approach, fans are eagerly anticipating who will become the next Agent 007. The latest Bond film, No Time to Die, starring Daniel Craig, garnered nearly $800 million in 2021. Over in London, the English capital is rolling out the catwalk for its Fashion Week. Over 100 designers and organizations are listed on its schedule for 5 days of runway shows and presentations. 35 catwalk shows will take place across the city. London is known for its fashion schools and for nurturing talented names that have gone on to work at some of the world's biggest luxury labels. This year's edition will be the last featuring Chief Executive Carolyn Rush, who is stepping down after 16 years.
So this is my last London Fashion Week as Chief Executive of the British Fashion Council. It has been an absolute honour to lead this organisation, to build the profile of London, the support programmes we've put in place for young designers, to navigate, I think, all of the challenges and headwinds that we've had from the pandemic to Brexit to, you know, just the trading challenges that we have at the moment. But we are in a really good place, and so it's a fantastic time to hand over the baton to a new CEO.
And now, Tortang Talong getting global acclaim as it lands the second spot in Taste Atlas's top 50 best egg dishes worldwide. The hearty and simple Filipino dish bested its counterparts from Greece that are on the 3rd and 4th spot and Turkey on the 5th. Taste Atlas praised the Filipino delicacy's versatility, saying it can be enjoyed at any time of the day as breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Taking the top spot is Japan's ramen egg. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon and happy weekend.